Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's episode we are going to discuss about top 5 BMWs that you should buy in 2026 if you want to buy, of course, a real car. So without further ado, let's start. And the first car that I have in my mind right now is BMW G20, the 320d. Why is this normal car on the list? Is because it's very reliable, very good, very decent car. You can buy one from around 20k or maybe even lower to around, let's say, 40k, even if it's very new and facelift. For around 24k you can get kind of a base 320d, and if you increase the price around 28, 29, 30, I think you can get a really decent one and kind of a low mileage one. So why is this a good choice? For many reasons. First, it's a 3 Series, and the 3 Series was always a good car in terms of driving, practicality. It was the main car of BMW for many years. It has a decent luggage space, a decent space for people in the back, a decent space for people in the front, because there are many cars that you don't really have space in the front. Even in the driver's seats I have sometimes problem in fitting in different cars. I have on 184 centimeters height, and sometimes it can feel quite not very comfortable to sit in smaller cars. But in my case I had the G20 330e, which was very good and interesting car, and it was very good and spacious for me. It was comfortable, and what I like is that you can get one with a lot of nice options. For example, Harman Kardon, which sounds very similar, for example, with BMW X5 with Harman Kardon, or some people are saying that it sounds even better. The consumption is low. The price of the car, as I told you, is not very big in my opinion, especially for a new car. The taxes for the car are low, so I think it's a great buy in 2026. So now let's talk about the 4 cars. By the way, these cars are not in a specific order, they are just random order, so the first one is not the best and the 5th one is not the worst. So on number 4 we have the 5 Series 545e, the plug-in version. First thing that I like about this car is that it's a 5 Series. It's not, again, extremely expensive. If you don't want a good spec, for example, if you want normal seats, no M package, no nothing, just the car, you will get a very comfortable car for around 30 something k euros, and a very fast one. It has 400 horsepower, and the time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, it's around 4.6 seconds declared by BMW. And from what I know, almost every BMW, it's faster in reality than on the paper, which is very good news. I think you can go from 0 to 100 in around 4.4 seconds if you are lucky, which is extremely fast for a normal sedan, and it's not even an M performance. It's not like the M550d was, for example, some years ago. It's just a 545e plug-in hybrid. What I don't like about this car is that if you don't have the opportunity to charge it, the consumption will be high. I know this from experience. I never owned this car, but I own, as I told you, a 330e. And that car, even though it was a 2-liter engine, 4-cylinder, if the battery was empty, because it was quite a heavy 3 Series, the consumption only in urban situation, in my case, was around 12 to 14 liters per 100 kilometers. And it's not very good in my opinion, considering it's a plug-in and it should run efficient even if the battery is dead. So I expect from the 545e to have around 15-16 liters in the city, and I'm talking about something very realistic here. I'm not talking about driving at 60 kilometers per hour. No, I'm talking about going in traffic, start and stop, go with the car for 15 minutes, then stop the car, and so on. I think this is the real consumption with the battery completely dead. Again, very comfortable car, very spacious car, a bit quite heavy because it's a plug-in, but I think overall it's a nice car. You can go also on electric for around 30 kilometers, 25 kilometers if it's, again, freezing outside or if it's very hot outside and you need to use the AC. And something bonus, I have a friend that has this car. He modified it, not very extreme, and it looks very impressive and almost like the M5. So very good news for the people who want to modify their cars. As I told you, you can get one from, at the moment, 33, 34, which is not very well spec'd, and high mileage to around 50,000 euros. In my opinion, the sweet spot It should be around 40,000 euros with M package and around 70,000 kilometers, something like this. Now on number 3 is the BMW X5 G05 from 2021-2022. Why I picked this car? Because it's a very versatile car. Also, you can get the 45e version, which is plug-in, and what I like more than the 5 Series is that it has a bigger battery, and the realistic range, it can be around 60-70 kilometers, which already it's a lot better. If you don't have very long drives in the city, I think you can use the battery for a whole day. So this changes the experience quite a bit when using the plug-in hybrid system. It's also very comfortable. You can also configure it with a sunroof, and the sunroof, it's a real sunroof from the front to the end. I really like these types of sunroof where you really feel like you are almost in a convertible. As I told you, very comfortable, quite fast if you get the 45e version, 400 horsepower, but it's slower than the 5 Series, of course. It has a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time at around 5.5 seconds, but it's still quite fast considering it's an SUV. I feel like you can park this car anywhere because it's quite high from the ground. You can get over a lot of obstacles, and the car, I think it's a very good package overall. In my case, I don't have a family with kids, but I still want to buy that car because I love how it looks, the comfort, the feeling, the emotion that the car gives me. It's also worth mentioning that you can buy the 30D version, but I don't really recommend it because it has under 300 horsepower and it's almost the same price with the 45e. If you are driving only on the highway, I think the 30D, it might be better. It will have a lot better consumption because it's a diesel and it's made for the highway, but the power for sure it's not there. I think it's quite a slow car. This car is more expensive than the others. If you want one with M package, comfort seats, sunroof, maybe at least hi-fi, it's around 50,000 euros with 70,000 kilometers and 2022 year of fabrication. But again, it's a practical car, and for me it's quite an emotional car because I like how it looks. Now, if you are an enthusiast and you want to buy a fast car and not very expensive, you can get an M340i, but not expensive if you are willing to compromise the mileage. If you don't want to compromise the mileage, this car, it's over 40k and it has iDrive 7, which I really not enjoying. But if you can find one at around 35k, I think you are getting a very nice looking car and a very reliable car. I know there are people who can't get used to the front end of the BMW M3 and M4, and the M340i for them looks better, and I totally get it. So this car is for you. You get a similar consumption compared, for example, to the 330e if you have the battery dead, because the car is lighter and it doesn't have a battery to carry on. One thing which I don't like about this car is that it's only X-Drive. I personally don't really enjoy X-Drive on performance cars because you need to be careful about the tires, you need to be careful to buy a car that was not drifted, and I'm talking about drifting the car on dry surfaces. It's not very good at all for the X-Drive to be drifted on a dry surface. I'm not really concerned for the BMW X5, for example, that the previous owner tried to drift the car, but regarding an M340i, which is usually bought by young guys, it might be a little bit sketchy. But still, fast car, and if you can get one for a good price, I think it's one of the best choices in 2026. And now, the last car and my favorite car is the BMW M2 G87 because it ticks the most boxes for me. It's very reliable, the S55 engine is a monster, even though on the BMW M2 it only has 460 horsepower compared to the M3 and M4, which has 510. It's new. It's from 2023, you can get one with warranty, it has the iDrive 8, it's not extremely expensive, it's around 55,000 euros, and it's a very, very playful and one of the best cars to drive. No hybrid, no electric, no nothing, just pure thermic drive and very, very fun. I also enjoy that it's rear wheel drive, but one thing that I don't like about this car is that it's the same weight with the BMW M4, and it should not be like that. The previous M2 was lighter than the previous M4 and it made it quite a different driving experience. It's also different right now, but it's more similar with the M4 than it was back in the day where the first M2 came out. The only difference that you get is because the car is shorter. I think more sketchy to drift than comparing with the BMW M4, which is longer, more fun, but it's a bit harder to drift. Your rear end can be a bit more happy than in the BMW M4 because, as I told you, it's shorter, but it's also more playful. If the BMW M2 G87 would have minus 150 kg less, I think it would be the perfect BMW. For me, it ticks all the boxes if you are young, have money and wanna buy a sports car. It's the fastest, the more reliable, the newest. Of course, it may not be the perfect car for everyone. For example, some people don't like how the car looks. Some people don't like the car because it's only rear-wheel drive. But these two things, in my opinion, are a plus because it's more fun with rear-wheel drive and the looks are quite unique. So this was my list for the best BMWs in 2026. If I had to choose one right now, I would not choose the M2 because I already own one. It's fun, it's fast, but I would prefer a BMW X5 at the moment. I never had an SUV and I really want to try one comfortable with a lot of options, with the sunroof and everything. I want to try this experience also. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.